Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody this morning? Just 1 second. So I'm trying to be stoic here. The last time I heard from Daria was on Wednesday. Wednesday afternoon. How are you? I love you. I'm okay. How are you? And that was now because she's in Russia and she works, and I can see she's been on today. All I can do is stay stoic. I can only message her. I can't assume anything. So all I can do is be patient and wait. And this is like gold, right? What's the difference between Daria and gold? You love them, you have to wait. She does this almost once a month, as you hear me say. Well, it's been 3 days, been 4 days. I don't know honestly what it is. Usually she's upset and doesn't want me to know about it or doesn't want me to get involved. She just wants to handle it. Like she had a problem at work. She had a problem with her health. Normally when she goes to the doctors, she sends me a picture. So don't know what it is this time. I'm sure I'll hear from her. I'm sure there's no problems. I'm sure we'll go to Serbia. So, you can't overanalyze it. If this was a fight, I would know it, but it's not. We didn't fight. All I said is I'm confused. Where the hell's where the hell's the text? See, I'm looking for expected outcome here. I'm going, where is she? Why isn't she texting me? She normally texts me every day, even if it's to say hello and have a nice day and how are you? And then that's it. Okay, I get that. But when I get nothing, I just like normally from knowing her, I've known her about 3 or 4 years now. There's something she doesn't want me to know, or she doesn't want me to worry about. And that's all I can think about. So I don't think she's sick. She sends me a picture. She's in the hospital. So I think something happened somewhere or she's having a fight with her daughter, or something happened, but she doesn't want to worry me or have me involved, or I don't know. She went to one thing and said, I didn't want to tell you about it. I didn't want you to be upset at me. And I said, well, why would I be upset at you? It was a good thing, but so I don't know. All I can do, like I said, all you can do is wait. See, this is what Stoic's about. It's a perfect example of what it is. It's like when I'm applying for these jobs, I can have a good interview. I can send a thank you, and that's all I can do. Now I just wait and see if I get the job. That's why I want to do the teaching. I can make some good money without the bullshit of waiting. Just teach economics, which everybody needs and loves and loves to understand. So that's my thought about that. But that's the problem with a lot of stuff. I mean, we can ask, where's Bobby? But there's nothing we can do. I mean, hopefully he jumps back on, but that's all we can do. So anyway, that's stoic. You can only do your side of it, right? And you got to stay strong and you got to stay smart. Do I stop talking to Daria because I haven't heard from her in 4 days? No, I got to hear her explanation. And she's done this before, and then she comes back. So there's really no reason, I'm not going to stop talking to her without understanding what happened. I'm not worried about another guy. I don't know really what happened. It is Russia, St. Pete. There's a war going on, but they're the ones shooting, not being invaded. So it's really not a lot there. I would think if something happened to her or her daughter, she would tell me that. We're in the hospital, this happened, that happened. So, don't know. All I can say is she was on at 5 a.m. She's now on at 10:30. I've left her messages, and I think if she could respond, she will. But you got to stay strong and convicted. I know there's nothing wrong. It's just all you can do is wait for her. You can't force the issue. You can't talk bad to her and say, "What the fuck? Why aren't you responding?" You can't do that. You just say, I'm worried about you. What's going on? In other words, I'm pissed off, but I'm not saying it because that won't do any good. Okay. I think I had a huge baseball. I know I had a huge basketball. So Orlando and OKC both won yesterday. Orlando won big, but they had to. They were down 2-1 at home, and they got the win. And then OKC finished them off because they're just a better team. So pretty good. I'm like 4-1 in basketball, and just as we go through it. Hey, Greg and John. Sam Hartman got signed by Washington UFDA, United Football. Oh, and the USFL, the Rocks League. Boy, that's how Rattler got drafted and Jordan Travis got drafted with his broken leg. How Hartman didn't get drafted, I really don't understand it. He's a first-round pick. I mean, what is he? I don't know how tall he is, but maybe it's like a Drew Brees where, he's too small. Didn't really stop him at Wake Forest. All right, let's go through baseball. LA under 8, the winner. LA wins 4-2 over Toronto. Baltimore over 8, we lose. They win 7-0. We get no help from Oakland. Cincinnati 8, Texas 4. We have Texas, we lose. St. Louis 7-4 over the Mets. We win. We have St. Louis. The Cubbies over 8.5. Boston wins 17-0, so that's a W. Washington, they win 11-4. We got Washington. Houston, they win 12-4. We got Houston. KC under 8. It's the Tigers, of course. They played an 11-run game with the two. I mean, it's almost like just stop doing Detroit because they're pathetic. The White Sox 8, Tampa 7. We have the White Sox over 8.5, another winner. We have Milwaukee. The Yanks win 15-3. We have Atlanta over 8.5. That loses 4-2. The 10-star, yes, we win. That was the only play I had. The 10-star, Philly under 7.5. They win 5-1, so that wins. Frisco loses the Pit 4-3. Montana threw an interception. Minnesota over 8.5. They win 16-5. How did Minnesota score 16? And Arizona over 7.5 loses. What a day. So 2-0 in baskets. 1-1, 1-2, 2-2, 3-2, 4-2, 5-2, 5-3, 6-3, 6-4, 6-5, 7-5, 8-5, 8-6, 9-6, 9-7. But we hit the big one. So very see, now I'm getting more of the expected outcomes that I expect to get. No unrestricted free agent. He got signed by Washington. Oh, So he's on the Redskins. So he's their best quarterback. This is hysterical. So Washington signed 3 quarterbacks. Hartman, Drake May. No, not Drake May. Daniels. So they signed Daniels and, well, we'll get to the teams. And Hartman. Well, Daniels is probably, well, they're probably even, Daniels and Hartman. If he would have went where Drake May went, or where he should have went to Chicago because he's better than Caleb. Chicago's going to be like terrible team. All these receivers, pretty good defense and no quarterback. Unbelievable. Okay. So let's get into the NFL draft, then we'll go to baseball. Well, let's go to basketball first. There's only a couple of games. So did the Lakers hang in there? Yeah, see, the Lakers won the do or die game they lost. Then they win this game because Denver's laughing, going, well, we're up 3-0. All right. The Knicks and the Sixers. The Knicks are up 2-1. The Knicks won the first 2 at home. Philly won game 3. Now Philly's a 5.5-point favorite. See how when the Knicks win at home, all of a sudden Philly's the dog, and now Philly wins, so now they're favored. I don't know. I don't like Philly here. Their back's against the wall, but they're laying 5.5, and New York's off of a loss, so I'm going to skip this one. The Clippers in Dallas. Dallas leads 2-1. Dallas is 5. So I think Dallas won the first game at home, and now Dallas is laying 5.5. See, I don't like Dallas. Their back's not against the wall, so we ignore these games. Milwaukee, Indiana. Now I hear Milwaukee's big guy is out, and apparently Doc Rivers is the worst coach in the history of basketball. Indy's a 9.5-point favorite with the best Milwaukee player out. Indy leads 2-1. There's nothing you can do here. I can't take Indy. We're looking for teams who have to win. This doesn't qualify. And the last one, Minnesota's up 3-0 on Phoenix. Phoenix is at home, getting 1.5. They got blown out by many. I just don't know if Phoenix is any good. So I'm going to leave all 4 of these alone. They're not. This is being stoic, like I'm telling you on Daria. You have to. If Philly was the dog, it's a must win. But the fact that they won, now the Knicks are upset that they lost. So the Knicks might be a good play there. LA and Dallas is even. And again, Dallas won. So maybe the Clippers are okay, but then Milwaukee's got the injuries, so apparently I can't take them. And many Phoenix, game 3, when Phoenix's do or die got killed, so I can't. They might do what the Lakers did and salvage game 4 and then get blown out in game 5, but I'm not going to play it. All right, the NFL draft. So I'm going to go team by team. And my Green Bay fellow, Green Bay had a very good draft, I think. NFL, what in the world are the Falcons doing? They're getting the best quarterback in the draft. I think there's too many Alabama players drafted as if Alabama is a football factory. I don't know. I can't name too many Alabamas that do anything good. They got the quarterbacks, but look at Mac Jones. He's terrible. Look at Tagg. He's terrible. The receivers, they don't really do much. Devontae Smith at Philly, yeah, and then Waddle, and Ridley. I mean, they're They're not that good, but because they went to Alabama, people think they are. But this kid on the Lions, he's always injured. I just don't get it. I don't think enough UCLA defensive players were taken or Utah players. The Giants did not draft a quarterback because they got Tyrod Taylor. Oh, my God. All right, so let's go. We'll start with Arizona. Now, I'm going to be very I'm going to be very honest. I'm not out to say this team did good or bad because I like them or don't like them. And we'll see if they got their needs. I did notice there was a lot of teams taking linemen in the 4th, 5th, 6th round, which I said perfect. The ones that take them in the first 10 picks are idiots. San Diego. All right, here we go. Arizona, Marvin Harrison Jr. I think it's a stupid pick. I think Marvin Harrison's very good, but Arizona desperately needs defense and running. Kyler Murray, I'm not sure how good he is, but he's okay. They basically need a coach, right? So I'm not sure. Don't they have receivers already? I'm not sure you needed Marvin Harrison. I'm not sure how good I think he's the 3rd best receiver. I think Washington, Oduzzi, and then LSU were the best 2 receivers when we looked at the stats. All right. So good player. He'll help them, but not for the first pick. I think pick 4, a huge mistake, I think. I would have probably, if I was Arizona, knowing how bad they are, I would probably traded it to like Oakland or Denver and got some more picks and then got some more defense. The kid from Utah, the kid from UCLA, those are your best players. All right. Again, in the first round, number 27, Darius Robinson, a defensive lineman from Missouri. That makes sense. I don't know how good he is out of Missouri. They had a pretty good defense, not a Georgia defense or a Utah defense or a UCLA defense. There's a reason I say that. I mean, when you're giving up 10 points a game, I want players from that defense. There's a couple of USC guys. I'm like, they have a 45 points a game. Why would you take any of their defensive players? They couldn't play defense last year. And you can't say, well, he can run and he's an athlete. No. He's either got a football skill set. Either you've got a skill set as a quarterback or you don't. You don't get an athlete, which is Lamar or Drake May or J.J. McCarthy or these guys. They're athletes. They're not quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts. Look at Mac Jones. Say goodbye to Mac Jones, everybody. All right, so Darius Robinson, I like the pick. They need a defense. Missouri's not. They're a pretty good team. Okay, we'll take them. Next pick, a few picks later, they get a DB from Rutgers, Max Melton. I question that one. Rutgers, pretty good defense, but seriously, you got Utah and UCLA out there, and you're going to Rutgers with the 11th pick. I think that's a mistake. And really, I saw 1,000 defensive backs drafted, and it doesn't matter if they're all going to have stupid defensive coordinators. I don't care who you got. You could have Deion Sanders picking. It doesn't matter if they're going to play a soft zone with 2 deep. Nobody can cover these guys, right? That's the problem. So if you want to get good cornerbacks, then you got to switch to a man-on-man defense, which you don't want to do against Lamar because the receivers it'll be USC Oklahoma offense. They'll just run deep, and then the quarterback runs underneath. So I don't know. I wouldn't have got a guy from Rutgers. Trey Benson, the 3rd pick, running back out of Florida State. I don't know how good he is. I have to study Florida State and Texas because there's a lot of drafts from Florida State and Texas who I have no idea. So he's okay. He's not great. He's good. There's better running backs, but it's what Arizona needed, so that's fine. The next pick is Isaiah Adams, an offensive lineman. Now that's where you take an offensive lineman perfectly. Third round, seventh pick, offensive lineman, Illinois. I'm not crazy about, but okay. At least it's a top college. Then their next pick is a tight end from Illinois. Too much Illinois. They weren't very good last year. Elijah Jones, defensive back from Boston College. I have no idea. I wouldn't have went there. Dadrian Taylor Dimitri from Texas Tech, defensive back. Again, not a strong defense. And Xavier Thomas, a defensive end from Clemson. All right, Clemson has good defense. And then Christian Jones, an offensive lineman from Texas. Perfect. Fifth round, O-lineman. He'll start. And you didn't waste your fifth pick with an offensive lineman, a.k.a. San Diego. And then their last pick, sixth round wide receiver from UAB, which isn't a bad place to get one. Tajon Palmer, I have no idea. I assume he's their best receiver, and, so that's fine. So they got some receivers, running backs, and some defense. So not bad for Arizona. Again, the reason I wouldn't have taken Marvin Harrison is he's a very good player. We all know that. Maserati Marvin, that's where this idiot commentator builds him into something that he's not. If he was so good, maybe they would have scored against Michigan. How about that, Maserati Merv? But see, that's the problem. He should never have gone fourth. Big mistake, I think. Arizona needed the big defensive player from UCLA instead. All right, Atlanta. So I'll give Arizona an average grade. Give him a B. Harrison's still a good player, just not what they needed at that point. I would have traded it, or if you're going to do that, take Brock Bowers, not Marvin Harrison. Atlanta takes the best quarterback in the draft, Penix. Everybody's confused because they have Cousins. This guy's better than Cousins. So knowing Cousins as we know, watching him choke every year at Minnesota, why is this a surprising move? Raiders got some quarterback from South Alabama. Oh, that's good. Yeah, he's a good quarterback. He's better than what they have, although I would have preferred them. Why didn't they take Hartman? They could have got Hartman for nothing. This is ridiculous. Why are they making Hartman look like he can't play football? Did they not watch the Wake Forest? 45 touchdowns. You can't look at Notre Dame. Hardly Hartman's fault. Well, I did see the Notre Dame running back got drafted in the 5th, 6th round. The whole draft's fucked up. They have no idea what they're doing. Too many offensive linemen that, as I just showed you can take them in the 5th, 6th round, and it's an offensive lineman. He'll fit. It's fine. All right, so Penix, best quarterback in the draft, maybe with Daniels and Bo Nix, the top 3. Great pick. Get rid of Cousins. You don't need him. You don't need him now. I love when they say they're now drafting a 6-year college guy. Well, with COVID, most of the college players are 5th, 6th year. Cam Rising is going to be a 7th year. You're not going to draft him? Hey, if he goes free agent, that's huge. That shows you how stupid the GMs are. Having Hartman go free agent is how stupid they are. He could beat out Daniels. It wouldn't surprise me. Atlanta, a defensive tackle from Clemson. Okay, good defensive school. They get a defensive end from Washington. See, Oregon had the good defense. UCLA, Utah, not Washington. It wasn't great. So I don't know why so many Washington players on defense. At the offense, yes, not the defense. Brandon Dorlus, defensive end, Oregon. See, that's a better pick. The 4th round is a better pick than the 3rd round pick they got. Okay, so Brandon Dorlus from Oregon is a better player than the Washington player because Oregon had a much better defense. J.D. Bertlud, linebacker, Notre Dame. Makes sense. Good defensive team. Jace McKellen, running back from Alabama. I'm not crazy about that. I think he scored against Michigan, but wasn't a big deal. Too many Alabama players. It's like the gyms don't know what to do. So, he went to Alabama, we'll take him. I don't know. Casey Washington, wide receiver, Illinois. Way too many Illinois players. Illinois did not have a good team last year. And then defensive lineman from Georgia, Zion Lowe, probably a second stringer, but he's probably still better than most of the other guys. So let's see. So I give Atlanta. I'll give them an A. They get the best quarterback, and then some good defensive help. A lot of defensive help, and they have the running backs. I don't know. I think they need receivers, but I would give Penix 5 or 6 games and then let him get in there and get rid of Cousins. See, Cousins sucks. Trevor Lawrence sucks. Dak Prescott sucks. You got to realize that. So Atlanta realizes that Cousins is terrible, but they needed somebody. They couldn't live with the Riddler and the other guys, so they get Cousins. But now they get a real quarterback. So I don't see the problem there. All right, Baltimore. Nate Wiggins, cornerback from Clemson. Okay, not bad. Roger Rosengarten, offensive lineman from Washington. Okay, I don't mind an offensive lineman from Washington. 2nd round, 30th pick. Okay, so that's fine. That's the end of the 2nd round. You may draft an offensive lineman. Defensive end from Penn State next. They don't need much defensive help. Devontae Walker, wide receiver, North Carolina. Okay, North Carolina had some good receivers. I'm not sure if this is their stud or not. TJ Tampa, DB from Iowa State. Good pick, Iowa State. Rashid Ellis. This is the best running back in the draft. Rashid Ali from Marshall. Absolutely like lightning. This will help Baltimore immensely to overcome all the failures of Lamar. This was a good pick. This is a very good running back. Then they take Devin Leary, quarterback from North Carolina State. Very good. He's a good backup to Lamar until they get rid of Lamar and he can walk right in. Nick Samick, center from Michigan State. I wouldn't take anybody from Michigan State. And safety, Sanasi Kane from Purdue. Who the fuck knows? Going to Purdue. So I like Leary. I like Ali really a lot. I'm not sure about Walker, the wide receiver from North Carolina, and a defensive end from Penn State. They got an offensive lineman. And see, you have 6 or 7 offensive linemen on the team that's already been playing. So when you draft all these offensive linemen, none of them are really going to make the team. You might have 1 or 2 that make the team. Nobody's going to get in the starting lineup because you already have the guys from last year. So it's really wasted picks. They're really just backups. But to draft more than 1 makes no sense because you need defense. You could always use more receivers. There's a lot of injuries that happen, and just doesn't make sense. So I give Baltimore a C. I don't know. The cornerback from Clemson won't start. The old lineman, okay. And then I like Ali. Ali's their best pick. And this Devon Walker from North Carolina, the receiver, maybe he's okay. God knows they need receivers. Buffalo got a great player. Their first pick, Keenan Coleman from Florida State. I don't know how good he is, if he's as good as the LSU guys, but okay, they need a receiver. The steal is this Cole Bishop. This guy is all-pro from Utah. He's the safety and better than any of the first-round linemen that went, and better than Marvin Harrison. Had Arizona taken this pick at 4, would have been much better than Marvin Harrison. Raiders got a. Well, there you go. New Hampshire. Isn't that the home of running backs in Division II? So Cole Bishop, He'll be an all-pro for 10 years. Great pick for Buffalo. Dwayne Carter, defensive tackle from Duke. Not crazy about. Ray Davis, running back from Kentucky. Not crazy about. Cedric Van Pran, O-lineman from Georgia. Okay, good pick. Anybody from Georgia. Edafon Alfonso, linebacker from Washington. Not crazy about. Javon Solomon, defensive end for Troy. That's probably good. Troy has a good team. Better offensive team, though. Tylon Grable, O-line from UCF. Okay, that's when you do. You sixth round, that's when you get your O-lineman. So they got one in the 5th round, one in the 6th round. See, Buffalo got it right. Buffalo takes wide receiver and an all-pro safety, and then they take the tackle, some running back I never heard of. No, then you got the O-lineman in the 5th round, but he's from Georgia. And then the O-lineman in the 6th round from UCF. Cornerback from Penn State. This guy must suck if he went in the 6th round. And an O-lineman from England, not New England, from England. Funny, the Lions got some guy from Canada, and this guy's from England. I don't really quite understand it. He's 6'7", 301. Well, that doesn't mean he's good. It just means he's big, but he's too slow probably. So anyway, so that's Buffalo. I give them a high mark for the wide receiver, safety, and getting the lineman later. So I'll give them a B for that. I don't know how good this Keon Coleman is from Florida State. I'll have to check up on that. Carolina. Boy, do they have trouble. Ooh, they need a quarterback, and they draft a wide receiver. Wide receiver from South Carolina. You go to South Carolina for your wide receiver. Okay, that's an F right there. Jonathan Brooks, running back from Texas. I didn't see that guy. He wasn't as good as the Oak State guy who was getting drafted next year. Then they got Trevin Wallace, a linebacker from Kentucky. Maybe Jatavian Saunders, but not Primetime's kid. Tight end from Texas. Chow Smith-Wade, defensive back of Washington State. Now, Washington State had a great defense. They had 2 great ends. This ain't one of them, but a DB, that's fine. Defensive tackle from Old Mississippi State, Jaden Commodity. I'm not. When you're going to Ole Miss and Old Mississippi State for defense, you're probably in the wrong part. And Michael Barrett, a linebacker from Michigan. I don't like any of the Michigan players because they ran a Ponzi scheme defense where they don't really have good players. So they rush 6 guys on every down. So it means you don't have good players because you're blitzing every down. So if you have to blitz, if you had good players, you could rush 4. So I think it's a bad pick. 7th round linebacker from Michigan. That's not good. So Carolina, the best player. I'll give him an F. This is a horrible draft. So you're trying to get a wide receiver for Steve Young, and you get this guy from South Carolina. This is your 1st round pick, South Carolina, wide receiver. Are you out of your fucking mind? Have you heard of Washington? Have you heard of Oregon? Have you heard of LSU? Have you heard of USC? Have you heard of Arizona? All these passing schools, and you go to South Carolina. Terrible. I give them an F. They won't win a game next year, and neither will the Bears. The Bears, Caleb Flop. Okay, now I know this guy on BetMGM is listening because they're talking about Caleb, and some guy in the back says he's going to be a bust. And they go, why? And they go, because look at him against good teams. He doesn't show up. Seems like I made that comment for the last month. So instead of saying, yeah, I heard it from the Teaser King, he looks like an idiot because he says, oh, yeah, look at him against good teams. Well, I give you the Notre Dame game, the UCLA, the Utah game, the Oregon game. Where is he? He doesn't show up. It's the NFL. He's going to see UCLA and Oregon every week. he's going to try to dance around. It ain't going to work here. So this is a terrible first pick. Romo Doozy, we're just like Marvin Harrison. I love Romo Doozy, but not here. You got Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. What do you need 3 wide receivers for? You can't throw the ball to 3 wide receivers. You can't throw the ball to 2 good wide receivers. You want 1 star and 1 possession. You want Edelman and Randy Moss. You don't want Randy Moss and Jerry Rice on the same team. It would never work. That's why the Niners never had. They had Rice, and then they had Taylor. And Taylor was a good receiver, but Rice was number 1. You can't have 3 number 1s. So good player, terrible pick. Then we got Kareem Emagada, lineman from Yale. Seriously? You're going to Yale for a offensive lineman. Okay. Tells you all you need to know about the Bears. Okay, maybe you like the guy. You could get him in the 6th round, 7th round, free agent. Ain't nobody from Yale being drafted, so what are you doing? Then you get a punter from Iowa. Oh, my God. And then you get Austin Booker, a defensive lineman from Kansas. That's their best pick, the defensive lineman from Kansas, the 5th rounder. Getting a punter, I don't understand wasting. Are you that talented? You won 7 games last year, and with what you did, you're not going to win 5 games. Now, I think they still have the weak lineup, so they'll play Washington and Carolina and the Giants, so they should get some wins. It's like the Lions. They're so bad, they get the weak schedule, and then they beat the weak teams. Everybody thinks they're good. You watch the Lions this year, they won't win 7 games because now they get to play the tough schedule, and they can't compete. So I give Chicago an F. You could have had Penix. You could have had Bo Nix. Penix, I thought, would have fit better here, or Daniels, I think, would have fit better here. I think Daniels would have, because they can't block. They need running. Did they draft a running back, wide receiver, O-lineman, punter? You drafted a punter instead of a running back. So they're in big trouble, Chicago. I doubt maybe they'll win 5 games. Greg and John, TK, yeah, I know. The Bears, TK, what are the odds the Bears go to the Super Bowl? I have no idea. I don't pay attention to that, but I would bet against whatever the odds are because they need a quarterback. They need a running back. They don't need receivers, but they don't have anybody who's going to get them the ball. See, here's the problem. It's like people listening to Madoff. Oh, invest in Madoff. How does you do it? We don't know, but just invest in them. And it's a fucking Ponzi scheme. Well, okay, time to draft. Who do I draft? Well, I don't know, but I'm told to draft, Caleb. Why? I showed you his stats. They were like in maybe the 10th or 11th. Nix, Daniels, and Penix were far greater than that. So I don't really understand it. I don't understand Washington taking Herkman when you had Daniels. I could see New England taking Herkman. I could see Oakland. Oakland could have got Herkman for free. What are they doing? They're not winning with the quarterbacks they got. But they don't know that. They can't see that. They don't understand what they have, and Minshew's a backup at best. I don't know. He couldn't beat out Richardson last year. Exactly. They don't know what they're doing. They're listening to Mel Kiper or some idiot who doesn't know what he's doing. The fans could draft better than the GM. Exactly. You know what I hate is when somebody says, but the GMs, they're professionals. They know what they're doing. Really? So let me get this straight. The Carolina GM knows what he's doing. He took Bryce Young last year, and the guy sucks. He knows what he's doing. New England's guy took Mac Jones a couple years ago. He sucks. He knows what he's doing. Sam Darnold went to the Jets. Then they got the other guy, Zach Wilson. The GMs know what they're doing? Really? These are 1, 2, 3 draft picks, top 3, 4, in the draft. First round draft picks. They know what they're doing? Really? See, I don't like, that's the liberal way out. Excuse my French. They're experts. Everybody's an expert. Do I ever say I'm an expert? I don't think so. I just know my shit. All right, Cincinnati. Aramis Mims, a O-line from Georgia. Love it. Normally, I don't love O-linemen, but with Cincinnati, with Burrow and Chase, you need a running back, but a lineman like this can only help Burrow and Chase, so I like that. Chris Jenkins, defensive lineman from Michigan, I don't like because Michigan's a bullshit defense, so not too high on that, but Cincinnati needed defensive help. Maybe he's okay. Jermaine Burton, wide receiver from Alabama. Okay, Alabama has decent receivers. I don't think the LSU quarterback's going to throw to the Alabama receivers too often. Let me see. I can throw to Chase, my buddy, or Burton from Alabama, who we hate. So I think the balls are going to Chase a lot more. But okay, probably another bullshit receiver from Alabama who sucks. McKinley Jackson, defensive lineman, A&M. Okay, they need defensive help. The pick makes sense. Is the guy any good? Eric All, tight end, Iowa. Who knows? Iowa had no offense, couldn't score 10 points a game, and you're drafting an offensive player from there. Josh Newton, cornerback from TCU. Okay, TCU had good talent. Tanner McLaughlin, tight end, Arizona. Oh, okay. Arizona had a really good team. Cedric Johnson, defensive end from Old Mississippi. I wouldn't draft too many defensive players from Ole Miss. They gave up 35 points a game, but maybe he'll be okay. But again, Cincinnati needs defense. The John Anthony safety from Ole Miss. Oh, okay, that's a mistake. Getting a safety from Ole Miss is not good. They didn't. It's like I saw some team take 2 guys from USC. Okay, that's a GM that doesn't know what he's doing. USC gave up 40 points a game. Okay, watch the Oregon USC highlight on YouTube. The first 5 minutes, 2 80-yard passes from Bo Nix to the receiver, and where was the secondary? So you want secondary from USC? So DeJohn Anthony, safety from Ole Miss, I think it's a terrible pick. Matt Lee, a center from Miami. Okay, Miami's not bad. The coach sucks. Coach should be fired. You've got Van Dyke went to Wisconsin, so hopefully, but they don't have a good offense. The SMU guy who went there, I don't think he got drafted. So overall, I like that they got, okay, so they got a couple of linemen, which I know they've been having trouble, Cincinnati, especially the first round. Then they get a DL and another DL and a cornerback and another D lineman. So they needed defensive help. So hopefully one of these guys is good. The safety, I think they're in trouble. Tight end from Arizona, I think, and a tight end from Iowa. One of them might see the field. They're probably just for kickoff returns. Jermaine Burton, I don't know, wide receiver. He'll be the 4th wide receiver, and he ain't, again, you have Chase, so there's really no need for anybody else. So I think it's a B. I think they got what they needed. They got some O-line help for Burrow, and they got defensive help because they need it for Mahomes, right? And for Lamar and for Russell Wilson. That's by far the best division is the AFC North, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Cleveland. All 4 teams should win 12 games, followed by the AFC West, Kansas City, Denver, Seattle, and Kansas City, Denver, San Diego, and Oakland. Oakland needs a quarterback. They still need a quarterback. Denver got a great draft, and KC didn't need anything, and San Diego blew it taking the lineman fourth was a terrible mistake. They needed Brock Bowers. Then if they had Brock Bowers, they could challenge. So I think it's going to be KC in Denver. You got Sean Payton. You got the best coach. And then I think it's Oakland, San Diego. Oakland needs a quarterback. San Diego needs receivers and screwed up. Harbaugh played defense, but so their defense is going to be the Michigan defense. They're going to rush 6 players every play. What do you think Mahomes is going to do to that, man? His eyes will light up going, oh, you want to rush 6 guys on me? Come on. And he dinks it off to Kelsey, and he dinks it off to Chocolatey Clear, and he dinks it off to Pacheco. And you got 6 guys coming at him and only 5 guys back, and Pacheco runs for 40 yards and a touchdown. So San Diego is going to be in big trouble against Mahomes. All right, so I give Cincy like a B. Normally I don't like offensive linemen, but the guy's from Georgia and he's great. So, and it's a perfect fit for Cincinnati. They need linemen, so I don't mind it. But normally I hate offensive linemen with the 18th pick. Cleveland. Michael Hall, defensive tackle from Ohio State. Zach Zinner, O-lineman from Michigan, but he went in the 3rd round. So then it's okay. You don't waste your first-round pick. So a 3rd-round pick, O-lineman, okay, I like it. Wide receiver from Louisville, linebacker from Old Mississippi State, not much. 6th-rounder. 7th-rounder, DB from South Dakota. What the fuck is that? And defensive end from Cincinnati. Cincinnati had a good defense before, but now the coach moved on to Wisconsin. I don't see a lot of Wisconsin defensive players here. I did see the running back get drafted, I think by the Giants or the Jets, one of those two. So I give this a D. A defensive tackle from Ohio State, probably a stud. And then the O-lineman from Michigan, he the guy that broke his ankle in the Ohio State game, Zach Zinter, I think. So again, so I like that he took him. I'm not crazy about the receiver from Louisville. And then you got a linebacker, DB, DE, which I'm wondering why you took so many defensive players. When you have a strong defense, you need offensive players. They needed wide receivers. They really didn't get one. Kid out of Louisville. So I'm going to give this a C. I don't like it. Dallas, oh, my God. You need a quarterback, Dallas. You need a running back. Let's see what they did. An offensive lineman at the 29th pick from Oklahoma. That's an F. Marshawn Nealon, a defensive lineman from Western Michigan. All of a sudden, they're a defensive powerhouse. You go to UCLA and Utah and Oregon and Ohio State, and you go to Western Michigan. Oh, my God. Who's making the draft here? Cooper Beebe, O-lineman from Kansas State. I like that because he's Kansas State in his 3rd round. That's when you take your offensive lineman. Miris Lafudo, a linebacker from Notre Dame. Perfect pick. Good defensive team. Probably a starting linebacker. DB from Wake Forest. Makes perfect sense. Wide receiver Ryan Flint from Southeast Missouri State. What the fuck are you doing? O-lineman Nathan Thomas from Louisville, Louisiana. I would assume it's my Louisiana Lafayette, so I don't mind the pick. And defensive lineman from Auburn. And the 7th round, this can't be a starter. So I'm gonna give Dallas a Z. Well, I'll give him an F. Terrible 1st-round pick. Why 2 offensive linemen in your first 3 picks? You need a quarterback. You need a running back. You probably need a receiver. You got Micah Parsons. Maybe you need some secondary help. So you got a D lineman from Western Michigan. He'll never see the field. A linebacker from Notre Dame. Maybe he's the 3rd linebacker, but really that's not a position you want anymore. You want linemen and cornerback safeties because the linebackers aren't, they go to 4 wide receivers. Your linebacker ain't playing. DB from Wake Forest in the 5th round. I doubt he makes the team. A wide receiver from Southeast Missouri. You're in trouble if he makes your team, but you needed a wide receiver. Then an old lineman from Lou Lafayette I don't get, and a defensive lineman from Auburn I don't get. I give him a Z. I mean, this is a terrible draft. The O lineman you got in the third round. So why waste the first round pick? Once you get in the first round, you've got all the players, right? Once you get out of the first round, you can't go back and get the running back and the receiver that are really good. And apparently you can get Hartman in the later rounds, but you can't. The offensive lineman from Kansas State, I guarantee you, is better than the offensive lineman from Oklahoma. So what did you do? You fucked up. So I'm going to give him an F. The fans could do better. Well, I could do better, that's for sure. They just picked by the ratings. Michael Rentz from the Raiders reports that Sam Hartman's another Jimmy G. Why does he say that? Can you contact this loser? Who you like from South Alabama? Is that any good? The Raiders signed unrestricted. Well, the quarterback was very good from South Alabama. They would play that other team. Coastal Carolina had a good quarterback. I don't remember, but South Alabama had a really good quarterback. No Hartman, but he's a good quarterback. All right, so we give Dallas an F. Terrible draft. Terrible thought process. What do you need? Excuse me. Didn't go down very well. Why do you need a first-round draft pick from Oklahoma, an offensive lineman from Oklahoma, when you need running backs, right? Doesn't make any sense. But that's why Jerry Jones is the GM. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And he hasn't solved his problem. He still has Dak Prescott. Big problem. All right, Denver. They got the second best quarterback in the draft, Bo Nix. Great pick. A steal. They didn't even have to trade for it. Where was Oakland for this pick? Jonah Ellis, defensive end from Utah. Great pick. Great player. Utah had a great defense. Troy Franklin, wide receiver, Oregon. Great pick. Denver just killed it. Defensive back from Missouri in the 5th round. I like it. Running back, Audric Estime, Notre Dame. Beautiful. So now you got Bo Nix and Estime from Notre Dame, who was very good, as your backfield. You've just added a receiver from Oregon. You got a great offense now, and you've added the DB and this defensive end who's going to be all pro from Utah. What a draft. This is how you draft. Look for Denver. This year they're going to be good with Bo Nix. I don't know what Russell Wilson's deal was, but you got Sean Payton. He likes Bo Nix. Forget about it. We're betting Denver all the time. Wide receiver Devon Vell from Utah, another excellent pick. And then the O-lineman from South Carolina. That's when you draft your O-lineman in the 7th round, and I'm sure he'll play a lot. Beautiful. I give him an A+. Denver, best draft. They got Nix for nothing. And, oh, wait, Minnesota got J.J. McCarthy. Yeah, see how – so this was the 12th pick. J.J. McCarthy went 6th or 7th. Not good. Detroit, another pig team. Defensive back from Alabama. Don't like it. First round. Defensive back from Missouri. I like him better because Missouri had a better defense. Tackle from British Columbia in the 4th round. Really a safety from Utah, which at first I got excited, but then he's going to be a running back. What? The safety you needed as a running back, you don't. Then some defensive tackle from LSU in the 6th round. Probably won't make the team. And an O-lineman from Boston College. What are you drafting an O-lineman for? You've got 8, 9 on the team already. That's a bad pick. They needed a running back. The 2 DBs won't matter because you still got the defensive coordinator who runs to run 2 deep zone. and let all, you know, the fact that all these receivers, CD Lamb and Jefferson, caught like 15 balls for 200 yards in the games isn't going to change because it's not the DB, it's the defensive coordinator who's going to play this soft zone. It's still going to be a soft zone. You just have a different guy playing it. So until they get rid of the coordinator, they're fucked. And then I did hear, I'm driving home from the pool while I was driving the Chinese, and I hear somebody texted about the Lions, said they need a new coach. The guy's got his head up his ass. So again, I can see I have a lot of people listening to me because that's exactly what most people from Detroit won't say that. And the announcer, of course, poo-poos it. And if it was me, I'd have ripped into him going, yeah, he cost them the trip to the Super Bowl with these fourth down plays. He blew the 17-point lead. You don't want to face it. He cost them the Super Bowl with his incredibly stupid fourth down plays. So you might not want to hear it, but facts are facts. They didn't get in the Super Bowl because this idiot went for it on fourth down twice and didn't make it, gave Frisco the momentum, and Frisco goes to the Super Bowl. Greg and John, you're retracting messages. Lions need a new quarterback. Well, they got Hooker. He's fine. Dallas is stuck with Dak. Yeah, well, and we'll see how many playoff games they win. 0. So you've got Brock Purdy going to the Super Bowl, winning all these things. You have Jordan Love beating Dallas by 30 points. Well, Hurts stinks, but see, this is the problem. It's become a game of everybody runs the same offense but Kansas City. If you don't have a running back, your offense is going to be, you're not going to score because when you get in the red zone, you have to run. They haven't figured this out yet, except for Kansas City, San Francisco with McCaffrey, and a few other teams, now Denver. You watch how many touchdowns Denver scores with this big guy from Notre Dame. How does Cousins make all this money? Because there's no talent in the league. And again, they think he's good. How does Lamar make money? He's the worst quarterback in the league. How does he make money? Because he can run. He's a quarterback. He needs to throw. He can't throw. That's why Baltimore will never win with him, but they're too stubborn to realize it. So they bring in a new offensive coordinator instead of getting a new quarterback. Live and learn. We just keep betting against them in the playoffs and winning. So, see, we get the stoic view. We see what it is, and we go, oh, I'm going to bet Mahomes over Lamar every time they play. I'm going to bet Joe Burrow over Lamar every time they play, which I did last year. I took Cincinnati against Baltimore. I won the first one. The second one's when he got hurt, and they were winning 14-10 when he got hurt. So Cincinnati's going to win that game if Burrow doesn't, get cheap shotted. All right, Green Bay. Lamar really isn't a good running back either. He's fast. He's probably a better receiver or a punt returner. He's not really a running back. He's too light to be a running. If you line him up at running back, he wouldn't do anything. He needs to be a receiver where he's got space. All right, Green Bay. Jordan Morgan, O-lineman from Arizona. They're pretty loaded. I don't like an O-lineman, but it's pick 25, but stupid pick, really. Edgerrin Cooper, linebacker from A&M. I didn't realize A&M had this great defense, so I know Green Bay needs defense. They're loaded offensively, so I'll give them credit. I know from a need standpoint, they needed the O-lineman and they need defense, so okay. Javon Bulliard, DB from Georgia. So they got a better pick with the 26th pick than they did with the 13th pick. Linebacker from A&M. They got a much better player with the 26th pick. See, this is the problem in the draft. The better players don't get drafted when they should. So here's a perfect case. The DB from Georgia is a much better pick than the linebacker from A&M. So give them credit for getting him, but the way they got it was stupid. Then they get Marshawn Lloyd, a running back from USC. It's hard to say because it's such a gimmick offense. Is he any good? Well, they go back to pass all the time. So, yeah, handing the ball off, he looks good. I don't know how good he'll be in the pros, but here he's had a bit of fumbling problems, so probably not a good pick. Tyron Hopper, linebacker from Missouri. Okay, all of a sudden Missouri's got this. Let's check out Missouri. Defensive back from Oregon, love it. So the defensive backs are good. And Jacob Monk, O-lineman from Duke. Okay, that 5th round, perfect. Keaton Orlando, defensive back, Oregon State. Oregon State had a great defense, no problem. Travis Glover, O-tackle, Georgia State. Now, Georgia State's in the Sun Belt. I don't mind this pick. Georgia State's at least a real team, not like New Hampshire. I love this pick. Quarterback Michael Pratt from Tulane. This guy's really good. He's probably better than Love. If Love gets hurt and you bring in this guy, I'll be betting on Green Bay. And Kalen King, a cornerback from Penn State. I didn't realize Penn State was all that talented last year, but okay. So for Green Bay, I'm going to give him an A-. I don't like the 1st round O-lineman, but they needed it. And I don't like the 2nd pick, the linebacker. I do like the second round, the DB from Georgia. Marshawn Lloyd, I'm not sure I would have went there. Nobody drafted the Washington guy. Maybe he wasn't in the draft because some of these guys, like the Oklahoma State guy, wasn't in the draft. So we'll see. Tyron Hopper, linebacker. Okay, they needed it. DB from Oregon, good pick. O-lineman from Duke in the 5th round, good pick. DB from Oregon State. See, they had a great 4th, 5th round. They cleaned up. The OT from Georgia State. Pratt, beautiful pick. So I'm going to give him an A-. I don't like the O-lineman in the 1st round. It's a wasted pick. And the linebacker in the 2nd, I think, was a wasted pick. But then they come in with Bullard, which saves them. Bobby, where are you collecting off on your yacht? Thanks, TK, brother. Okay. Let's not worry about Bobby. If Bobby wants to be here, this is like Daria. We can't. If Bobby has other things to do, or he wants to watch the playback at 10 o'clock at night, that's what he does. If he wants to be live, he's been live many times. We don't know what happened. He might be sick. Something might have happened. Okay. So enough with the Bobby, where are you crap. It's like Daria. I can't make her text me. I was hoping that was her texting me. It was somebody else. And basically, that's what you can't control people. If she wants to text me, she will. When she needs money for food, then she'll text me. Then maybe I'll wait 5 days before responding. I don't understand what she's doing and why, and she needs to explain it. And until she does, I don't know. So I said good morning. I'm going to stay stoic and say good morning and I love you and I hope you're well, because that's how I feel. But if she doesn't want to respond, then I can't make her. So I don't know why. There was no bad blood or fighting. So I have no idea. So something must have happened. Maybe her mom got sick. Maybe Alina got sick. It happened with Irina, my friend from Romania. Her cousin's father died or something. She didn't talk to me for like 2 weeks. She said, "Oh, my friend's dad died," and so I was with her. And she's Romanian, but Russians are probably similar. Where, let's say, Daria's mother's sick, she's not going to waste time talking to me, right? So I don't know what's going on. But that's what I feel is like somebody got sick or something happened where she's needed there, and she knows she has me, so she doesn't think she needs to talk to me. And again, I'm a little different. I said I'm not Russian. Yeah, okay. Is she getting your messages? Well, they're not turning blue, but they are green. On WhatsApp, as long as it's a double check and you get the time up by the name, you're not blocked. So I'm sure she's getting them. Like I said, there's a reason she's not responding, which that's the question. How long does it take for you to respond? All of 2 minutes. Do you not have 2 minutes? But her last text was, I love you. Have a nice day. I hope you're well. So there's no reason, there's no fighting. There's no reason she's ignoring me. She'll need money for food soon, and I'll hear from her. And, I am putting, why the fuck aren't you texting me? Like, what? I'm very worried that maybe you're sick or somebody's sick. Anyway, so Green Bay, I'm going to give them an A- just because of their first pick was terrible. Houston. It's amazing how these GMs don't understand what the hell they're doing. They don't get the concept. I can get there's a million offensive linemen, right? That's all I read. The late rounds, Georgia State, Tulane, or whatever. And they're all it's an offensive lineman. There's no skill involved at all. They just block. Why would I need this guy in the first round when I could have got Brock Bowers? Why do I need this guy? All right, Houston. Kamari Lassiter, DB from Georgia in the second round. I like that. Blake Fisher, offensive tackle, Notre Dame, second round pick. I like that. Colleen Bullock, safety from USC. What the fuck are you doing? Did you watch the USC defense? How can you draft a safety from USC? That's an F. Cade Stover, tight end from Ohio State. I didn't think they had a good offense last year. I question that pick. I don't mind the tight end, but Ohio State, no. Linebacker from Oregon, love it. Running back from Louisville. I didn't think Louisville had a good running back. An edge rusher from USC. Another, what the fuck are you doing? Why do you think I talk about Iowa State and Iowa and Oregon and Utah and UCLA? Because they have good defenses. So obviously they must have good players. What the fuck are you taking a safety and an edge from USC for? Terrible, terrible picks. You don't even want them on the field, right? What are you going to get? Defensive lineman from Auburn in the 7th round. Question that. And an O lineman from Michigan. I question that. Okay, that's maybe when you take it, if he's a starter, a 7th round O lineman from Michigan. Fine. That I like. I don't like. So overall, the first, O tackle from Notre Dame and the O lineman from Michigan are the same. And they're all as good as the number 4 pick who went to San Diego from Notre Dame. Do you think this guy's is that much worse than the Joe Alt? And how can you determine that? What, he blocks better? It's fucking blocking some big guy coming at you. It's not anybody can do it. I mean, this guy and the first guy are exactly the same. There is no difference. Maybe a little bit of footwork, but I'd rather draft this guy with the 27th pick than the guy they took in the 4th pick. So the first 2 picks I like. I hate the 3rd pick, safety out of USC. I'm not happy with the tight end from Ohio State. The linebacker from Oregon I like. The running back from Louisville, I don't understand. The ads from USC, I hate. And the old lineman from so I'm going to give them a C. I like the first. I like about 3 picks. 2 guys from USC's defense. Are you fucking kidding me? Who's doing this drafting? Are you watching USC give up 50 points a game going, yeah, I got to have one of their defensive players? Oh, my God. All right, Indiana. This is the best pick. Latu. This guy will be all pro. Defensive lineman, UCLA. And this is the guy. This is the stud. He's great. UCLA had a great defense. I'm surprised more UCLA guys didn't go, but this is a great pick. Donnie Mitchell, wide receiver, Texas. I don't know. Texas had a decent offense. Second round. Okay, they needed receivers. Okay, not a great pick, but all right. O lineman from Pittsburgh in the third round. At least it makes sense. He's a third rounder. Bortolini, O lineman from Wisconsin. There you go. That's the first O lineman from Wisconsin. This is unbelievable. So very good pick there. Anthony Gold, wide receiver, Oregon State. Love it. Oregon State, undervalued. Jalen Carley's defensive back, Missouri. Good pick. Jalen Simpson, safety, Auburn. Good pick. Mika Ibrahim, cornerback, Marshall. I don't mind it. They had a good defense. And Jonia Lalulu, defensive tackle, Oklahoma. Probably not that good if you went in the seventh round, but I don't mind it. So I'm going to give Indy a B, a solid B. Great first pick. I'm not quite sure the receiver from Texas is. You could have found Oregon guys over the Texas guys. Jacksonville needs quarterback, running back, wide receiver. Let's see what they did. Brian Thomas, wide receiver in the first round from LSU. I think that's a little bit high, but I don't mind him. But the question is Daniels and the other wide receiver makes him the secondary wide receiver. So the other guy is going to get double coverage, leaving this guy alone. So I'm not sure. It's the same thing with Washington. You're going to, Oduzzi's going to get the double coverage. The other guy's going to be one-on-one. Is he that good with a Penix and a Daniels throwing to him? He'll make them look better than they are. So I'm a little bit, I don't love this pick. USC sucks. Yeah. Well, their defense does. The Celtics was a great pick, and the Lakers won one game finally. Sixers against the Knicks today. Yeah, okay. Well, we're talking draft right now, Greg and John. So I'm not going to read your basketball until I'm done with the draft. Brian Town. Okay, so kid from wide receiver from LSU. He'll be okay. He's not going to be great. Mason Smith, defensive tackle, LSU. I like that pick. Jarian Jones, DB from Florida State. Florida State had a good defense. I don't mind. Javon Foster, offensive lineman from Missouri. Perfect in the fourth round. Jordan Jefferson, defensive tackle, LSU. I wonder if he's related to Jefferson, the wide receiver on Minnesota. Justin, probably. Justin Jordan. Probably a good pick. DeAndre Prince, cornerback, Ole Miss. I don't like it. Keelan Robinson, running back from Texas. This is the second running back from Texas. I'm not sure. Texas didn't have a big running attack. By the way, that Washington running back's still out there, I think, unless he's been drafted. They waste on a kicker, Cam Little, kicker from Arkansas, terrible pick. And Miles Cole, linebacker. He must suck if they took the kicker ahead of him. So overall, I like the defensive tackle from LSU, the O lineman from Missouri, the DB from Florida State, the defensive tackle from LSU. So what do they got? Two? They got two defensive tackles from LSU. I'm not sure that they were a very good defensive team last year. The receiver, I'm curious. I'll give them a C, Jacksonville. They needed a quarterback. They didn't take. They should have taken a guy like Hartman, would have been perfect there, fill in. They need running backs. They got one from, no, they didn't get a running. Well, they got the kid from Texas, who's their third string running back, I guess. Overall, I'd say a pretty bad draft. Brian Thomas from LSU. The second receiver is not going to be good. The same thing with Washington. Oduzzi's good. Polk, how good is Polk? See, because Oduzzi took the double coverage, so hard to say. Kansas City, Xavier Worthy, wide receiver from Texas. We're very fast. I do like this for Mahomes. It takes care of Tyreek Hill, so I think it's a good pick. Kingsley Sumaki, offensive lineman, the 31st pick of the second round from BYU. Have no idea. Wiley, tight end from TCU. I don't mind. You know, when KC picks a tight end from TCU, you know he can catch. Jaden Hicks, DB from Washington State, very good. Washington State's got 2 edge rushers who I don't see drafted yet, who are very good. Casey, O lineman from Penn State in the 5th round, perfect. Camille Haddon, DB from Tennessee, perfect. And C.G. Hansen, offensive guard from Holy Cross, who the fuck knows? So I like that they got the defensive back because they lost the one, and then they get another one from Washington State. One of those guys, the Washington State guy, will be a starter. The offensive line from Penn State fills in. They've had injury problems. The tight end, I don't know. Another offensive lineman from BYU. So they're all set. Where's Casey's problem? Offensive line. Well, they filled that. And then they got the speedy receiver for Tyreek Hill. So I give KC an A, hitting their needs and picking them properly. The wide receiver first, then the offensive lineman, and a couple of cornerbacks. They'll be in the Super Bowl next year unless Joe Burrow can beat them. All right, this is the Rams. Now, Aaron Donald retired, so they get a defensive line from Florida State. Okay, they had a good defense. Then they get another defensive lineman from Florida State. I question that all their defensive linemen were that good. Just like the double receivers, right? This guy's good because the other guy got double teamed, so is he that good? But the Rams need a defense, so it's smart picks. Then they get Blake Corum, running back, Michigan. I question this. If you give the guy the ball 50 times and he scores a few touchdowns. So I don't know. We'll see. I like the running back they have already, so he'll be a good backup. Kitchens, safety from Miami. Okay, I don't mind Miami. Benny Jackson, defensive end, Washington. This guy's a stud. Tyler Davis, defensive tackle, Clemson. Makes sense. Another kicker from Stanford. What's with the kickers? For Texas, he probably sucks because I've already seen 2 or 3 wide receivers go off the board. Bo Limmer, O lineman, Arkansas in the 6th round, perfect. And KT Leviston, O lineman, Kansas State, perfect. So I like their 2 late offensive linemen. I don't like their receiver from Texas, but if he's as good as Pukanuka, then I don't mind it. Tyler Davis and Jackson, defensive end, defensive tackle, and a safety are good picks. And then their first 2 were defensive linemen from Florida State. So one of them should be okay. Florida State had a good defense, but I don't know that you can take both their defensive tackles. That's kind of weird. Mahomes got a nice receiver. Well, no, Mahomes knows what to do with the nice receiver because you still got Kelsey and Rice, and I think Valdez Scantling. So, yeah, KC didn't hurt themselves. They know how to draft. How is Tagliavia's brother? Any good? No, he sucks. I assume you meant Tagliavua. I don't even think he got drafted, but he sucked. Too many interceptions. All right, the worst. I'm giving this an F. San Diego. Joe Alt, offensive lineman, Notre Dame with the 5th pick. Huge, huge, huge mistake. That's all I can say. You wasted the 5th pick with an offensive lineman. Are you out of your fucking minds? Then they get McConkey with the wide receiver in the 2nd round. Now, what you should have done is gotten Brock Bowers with the 5th pick. Then you could have got some old linemen from Ohio State in the 2nd round. What the fuck are you doing? Then you get Junior Colson, a linebacker from Michigan. Strongly disagree with that, but that's Harbaugh's guy. Then they get a defensive lineman in Alabama. I strongly disagree. A DB from Maryland. I don't know. Cornerback from Notre Dame. Okay, I like that. Running back from Troy. I like that. Wide receiver from USC. Okay, if you're going to take USC, get their offense. And a wide receiver from Michigan, I don't like because they didn't throw the ball. So I'm giving them I'm going to give them a D. The only one I like is McConkey, but they lose points for not drafting Brock Bowers. What the fuck is he thinking? Brock Bowers is a 10-year all-pro tight end, and you take an old lineman who maybe doesn't even start. You don't even know how good he is, and it's an offensive fucking lineman. McConkey should be good. You got rid of all your receivers. And then you got some linebacker from Michigan who sucks because they only were good because they blitz 6 guys every play. So we don't know how good this guy is. And the defensive line from Alabama I don't like for sure. So maybe Cam Hart, your cornerback from Notre Dame, but are you really missing defense? You really need offense, right? So you got an O lineman, terrible, a wide receiver who will start because you don't have any, another linebacker who's no good, a DL from Alabama. You got Bosa and Khalil Mack, a DB from Maryland, a cornerback from Notre Dame. Again, you need offense. Running back from Troy, well, you're solid running back, and then you finally take a wide receiver from USC and a wide receiver from Michigan. Okay, and I'm sure this isn't the stud wide receiver from USC, and I never heard of this guy from Michigan. So very weak draft, clueless. I'll give him an F. I give an F for not taking Brock Bowers. That's why they didn't need a quarterback. They had Herbert. If you're going to take this old lineman, why the fuck didn't you trade? Trade to Minnesota or Oakland, let them get their quarterback, and then you could have got more players, which is what you needed, not a guard from Notre Dame. Terrible. Very clueless GM. Oakland. Brock Bowers. How about that? The 13th pick, they take Brock Bowers. They needed a quarterback, though. Now, they could have had I think they could have had Hartman. Well, they could have had Hartman after the draft, I guess. But again, Brock Bowers is a steal at 13. How he's on the board at 13 is ridiculous. Jackson Powers Johnson, an old lineman from Oregon, great pick, second round. See, that's what I'm curious about. And again, Oakland doesn't need defense yet. What have they done? Okay, Brock Bowers, then it's an old lineman. Okay, then another old lineman, then cornerback, linebacker from Ohio State. I don't mind that. A running back from New Hampshire. What the fuck are you doing? A free safety from the Air Force. Now, I don't mind the Air Force. They got good defense. And a DB from Pittsburgh. Who the hell knows? So I don't know what to give Oakland. They got Brock Bowers, so they get a B for Brock Bowers and the lineman from Oregon. Then a lineman from that. I didn't realize they were that desperate for linemen. Now, the one position they needed, quarterback, they didn't draft. Then you got a cornerback from Old Mississippi State and a linebacker from so the linebacker from Ohio State will be good with their all-pro defensive tackle, who I'm drawing a blank on. Running back from New Hampshire, you've got to be fucking kidding me, even though he was in the 6th round. And I like the guy from the Air Force, so that was pretty good. But they're strong defensively. They still need a quarterback. You're not winning with Minshew. Sorry. All right, Miami. So I'm going to give Oakland a B because they got Brock Bowers. You got a 10-year all-pro tight end. And the question was, well, you drafted Mike Myers from Notre Dame, obviously, which goes back to my point. You drafted him, but again, that's because the TV liked him, right? Oh, he went to Notre Dame. He's great. And obviously, if he was great, they wouldn't have drafted Brock Bowers. Or is it another situation where they drafted Brock Bowers because he's so good, like Atlanta drafting Penix? You got the best quarterback in the draft falling to 8. So they have no – we got to take him. He's the best running back. He's the best quarterback in the draft. So if you watch Washington play, there's no disagreement. I mean, this guy beat Oregon twice, beat Texas, and had no chance against Michigan because they blitzed 6 guys the whole time. Okay, Miami. Chop Robinson, defensive end from Penn State with their first pick. Now, they do need defense. I don't mind. I don't know who this guy is. Patrick Paul, O-lineman from Houston with the 2nd pick. I question. Jalen Wright, running back, Tennessee. He's good. Mohamed Kamara, defensive lineman, Colorado State. Sounds like a Mel Kiper guy. Okay, they did need defense. Malik Washington, running wide receiver from Virginia. What are you drafting this guy for? Patrick Morris, safety from Cal. Cal didn't really have a defense, but okay. And Taj Washington, wide receiver from USC. Again, he's got to be the fourth or fifth stringer to go in the 7th round. So I'm not sure you got any value there. I'm not sure why you're wasting your time on 2 receivers when you have Tyreek Hill and Waddle. You don't need it. You need a defense. So they got a defensive end, a defensive lineman from Colorado State, a safety from Cal. I don't know who's doing their drafting. I give him an F. Terrible. Minnesota gets an F. J.J. McCarthy with the 10th pick. Are they out of their fucking minds? You realize you could have had Brock Bowers. You could have had Bo Nix. What the fuck are you doing? Terrible pick. Dallas Turner, linebacker from Alabama. I wasn't impressed. Kyrie Jackson, defensive back from Oregon. Good pick. See, when your 4th round pick's better than your 1st round pick, you got a problem, right? Walter Roos, O-lineman from Oklahoma. See, that's what Dallas should have done. This guy's Oklahoma 6th round O-lineman will be the exact same as the 1st rounder that Dallas took. Only they took him in the 6th round and were able to get better players than Dallas did. A kicker from Alabama. This is the 4th kicker. What the fuck? And then an O-lineman from Wake Forest. Okay, not bad. And a defensive tackle from A&M. He won't make the team. So Minnesota, I'm giving them an F. McCarthy's terrible. Dallas Turner's not good. The only good position they got is the DB from Oregon and the O-lineman from Oklahoma. Those 2 will make the team. If you think that J.J. McCarthy's any good, he's going to hit Jefferson, you're out of your fucking mind. You're lucky you have Mullins as your quarterback. Because can you say Sam Darnold? Can you say Josh Rosen? Can you say Zach Wilson? And you can say J.J. McCarthy right along with them. New England, the other idiots, I give them a Z without looking. Drake May. Can you just say the 5 quarterbacks I just named to you? He's Matt Jones, New England, right? Nothing. And they don't have an offense. Got a dynamite prospect in Drake May, really? I don't think so. Jalen Polk, wide receiver, Washington. Again, I think Oduzzi got the double coverage. I don't know how good this is. Again, Washington runs a gimmick offense, and Penix was great in it. Throwing to Oduzzi, I question Polk good in that offense, but in the New England offense, he won't catch 20 balls. Caden Wallace, offensive lineman, Penn State, 3rd round. That's fine. I don't know that they need offensive line. They need defense. Layden Robinson, offensive lineman, A&M. Good picking them there, but Javon Baker, wide receiver, UCF. Okay, I like UCF. That makes sense. Marcellus Dial, DB, South Carolina. Who knows? Joe Milton, quarterback, Tennessee. He stinks. Why didn't you draft Hartman here? And Jaheim Bell, tight end from Florida State, terrible. So what did New England do that's any good? Maybe Baker, the wide receiver from UCF, and the offensive lineman from Penn State. And that's about it. I give them an F. I don't think New England's going to win a game next year. I don't like their coach. I don't like their quarterback. Unless they go with Zappy. If they go with Zappy, they'll win 4 or 5 games. Drake May, they won't win any. New Orleans, I give them a Z also. Josh Rosen. Yeah, that's what I said, Josh Rosen. New Orleans, offensive lineman, for 14th pick. What the fuck are you doing? From Oregon State. What the fuck are you doing? Defensive back, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Alabama. He's not good. Spencer Rattler, what are you doing? You've got Carr and you've got Jake Hayner, who's better than Carr. And you add this clown, Spencer Rattler, who's not good, and you pass on Hartman. I don't understand it. Ridiculous pick. Bub Means, wide receiver, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, not an offensive juggernaut. Jalen Ford, linebacker from Texas. Okay, Texas didn't have that great of a defense. Oklahoma's did, but I'm not seeing a lot of Oklahoma drafted. Christian Boyd, defensive lineman from Northern Iowa. Okay. And Joshin Erzim, offensive tackle from Eastern Kentucky. You get a Z, New Orleans. This is the worst draft I've ever seen. Offensive lineman 14th, an Alabama DB. You got to take he's from Alabama. And Spencer Rattler, what a joke. New Orleans did not improve at all. It's a Z. It's the worst. I think it's the worst. I think this is worse than New England. Who had the best draft? Denver, I told you. Let's go. The Giants. And I haven't gotten to Frisco and some of the others, but Denver, they pick up Bo Nix. They pick up the running back from Notre Dame. Kansas City had a good draft. We'll go through it, but most teams have no idea, which is why most teams suck, right? This is why there's so many bad teams in the league. Okay, the Giants. Malik Neighbors, I love him from LSU, but not here. You needed a quarterback, New York. You've got Tyrod Taylor. Are you out of your mind? So Malik Neighbors, but who's going to throw the ball to him? It's just like Jefferson. Who's going to throw the ball? Well, they got Nick Mullins. Daniel Jones sucks. Are you kidding me? If this is your plan, you're going to win 3 games every year with Daniel Jones. So they don't want to realize that they fucked up their draft, and they won't say it. So they just ignore that Daniel Jones sucks, like Mac Jones sucks, like all these other guys. They won't admit Dak Prescott stinks, and they won't admit Trevor Lawrence stinks, or Tagovailoa stinks. So off you go. And we're going to watch Caleb stink. Okay, Malik Neighbor, but what's the point? He'll be like Odell Beckham. He's a great player, but he can't find a team who has a quarterback. He goes to Baltimore. Well, Lamar's going to throw it to you. Good luck with that one. So great player, terrible pick. Tyrod Nubin, DB from Minnesota. Really? Minnesota? Andrew Phillips, DB from Kentucky. They get some weird. Have you guys ever heard of Utah and UCLA and Iowa State and Iowa? Have you ever heard of those teams? Tight end from Penn State, who I didn't know had such great players. Tyrone Tracy, running back from Purdue. You're going to Purdue for running backs. Oh, my God. So you gave up on Barkley, and Tyrone Tracy's your answer. Did he have 200 yards rushing? And Darius Mossa, linebacker from UCLA. Probably your best draft pick, the linebacker from UCLA. All right, so you had one good pick, and that's it. I give the Giants a Z, even though they got Neighbors. Neighbors is who's going to throw him the ball? Terrible draft for the Giants. Let's see what the JETSs did. Did they improve? No, they didn't. They got an offensive lineman from Penn State. What the fuck are they doing? Now, they have Aaron Rodgers, they have receivers, and they have a great defense. So I can forgive them a little, but they could have got a good running back or somebody better than an offensive lineman from Penn State. Malik Corley, wide receiver from Western Kentucky. Now, Western Kentucky, we know, throws the ball, but you might as well go to Troy or South Alabama. I mean, they have players too. But it's a 3rd-round pick, so okay, I'll have to check out this guy. Brandon Allen, running back, Wisconsin. These Wisconsin running backs never turn out to be anything. Big mistake there. Jordan Travis, what are you doing? Quarterback Jordan Travis. The guy's got a broken foot, probably won't ever walk again. And you draft him in the 5th round ahead of Hartman. Wow. Terrible pick. Isaiah Davis, running back from South Dakota State, a superstar. Quintez Stiggers, cornerback from nowhere. And Jaden Key, safety from Alabama. With these Alabama guys. I got to give him a Z. I mean, this is a terrible draft. O-lineman with the 11th pick, when you could have got an O-lineman instead of Jordan Travis in the 5th round, you could have got your offensive lineman. Jordan Travis is injured. He'll never play. And Brandon Allen out of Wisconsin, I don't like. So I give the Jets Z. They better hope Aaron Rodgers plays and does a good job this year, because after that, they're fucked. Philadelphia, oh my God. Did they get rid of the defensive coordinator? That's the key. Quentin Mitchell, cornerback from Toledo, I don't understand. Cooper DeJean, defensive back, Iowa, is better than the guy from Toledo. What the fuck you doing? So, again, why are you taking DBs? You don't need defense, Philadelphia. You need a defensive coordinator. You got to get rid of Matt Patricia. Jalen Hunt, defensive end from Houston. Curious. Will Shipley, running back from Clemson. That's a good pick. Anita Smith, wide receiver, A&M. I have no idea. A&M's not very good. Trotter, linebacker from Clemson. I think he's good. Trevor Keegan, O-line from Michigan. That's when you pick your O-line, New York Giants, New York Jets. 5th round out of Michigan. I'm sure he'll start and be just as good as the other guys. You got a cornerback, a defensive back, a defensive end. Then you go running back, receiver. The linebacker from Clemson's better than your other guys. You got a good lineman from Michigan in the 5th round, perfect. And then Johnny Wilson from Florida State, I question. And another offensive lineman from NC State, which is probably perfect. So did Philadelphia help themselves? I like Cooper DeJean from Iowa. That makes sense. The guy from Toledo, I don't understand. Yeah, terrible pick there. So I'll give him like a C. You got the guys, the lineman from Michigan in the later rounds, and the DB from Iowa is good. Pittsburgh, the Steelers, they got Russell Wilson. There's a lot of teams, a lot of players. But I'm thorough. Troy Fontenot, a offensive lineman from Washington. Oh my God, terrible pick. Zach Frazier, O-line, West Virginia. Okay, enough with the O-line. This is Pittsburgh. Do you need O-linemen that badly? Roman Wilson, wide receiver, Michigan. Terrible. Peyton Wilson, linebacker, pretty good. Mason McCormick, O-lineman, South Dakota State. I don't get it. So you got an offensive lineman, South Dakota State, West Virginia, and Washington. So you seriously have 7, 8 offensive linemen already on the team from last year, and you're going to draft 3 new ones to replace your part of the 7 or 8 that you have? Were your offensive linemen that bad? Or are you just trying to protect Russell Wilson? I don't know. Defensive lineman from Iowa, the best pick is in the 6th round. And then a safety from Texas, I don't know. So questionable, because you got Russell Wilson, you drafted 3 offensive linemen. I mean, you needed receivers. You probably need running backs. This kid from Michigan, Roman Wilson, I don't get it. They ran the ball, so all Michigan did, you got to discount the whole thing, because all they did was run. And then probably when they had man-to-man coverage, they threw. So that doesn't mean the guy's a good receiver. I don't know. I don't like it. I'll give him a D. Too many offensive linemen and too early. Seattle, Byron Murphy, DL from Texas. Not crazy about Texas. Seattle needs a quarterback, remember. Lineman from Connecticut. Okay, and not a basketball player. Tyrese Knight, linebacker from Utah. Oh, my God. A.J. Barner, tight end from Michigan. Oh, my God. Nehemiah Pritchard, cornerback from Auburn. Okay. Satugu Lamumu, offensive lineman, Utah. There's your good pick. DJ James, cornerback from Auburn. Okay. And Michael Jarrell, an old lineman from Findlay. What is Findlay? Division 5? So I don't mind the Auburn and the Utah guy. A tight end from Michigan, I have no idea. And a linebacker from UTEP, I have no idea. Your O lineman from Connecticut, and then I don't know your defensive lineman from Texas. You need defensive help, so you got one defensive lineman, a linebacker from UTEP, forget about it. A cornerback from Auburn, okay, so he'll probably start. Another cornerback from, so you got both cornerbacks from Auburn. I didn't know they were that strong at cornerback. Um, Very disappointing draft. I'll give it a D. I mean, what are you doing? You need a quarterback. You have Geno Smith. You need a cornerback. Hartman's out there. Oh my God! Even take Hartman after the draft, like apparently Washington did. San Francisco. Now they don't need much, right? You got Purdy, you got McCaffrey, you got Samuel, you got the tight end Kittle, and great defense. You got rid of your defensive coordinator, which is your problem. See, they don't draft all these defensive backs like the Lions did. They got rid of the problem, the defensive coordinator. Hopefully the one they got's better. That's why KC wins. They got the best defensive coordinator, and they signed him to a 5-year contract, and they don't have to worry about it. So anybody they get's going to fit because you got the best defensive coordinator. All right, Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver of Florida. That's a D. Ronaldo Green, DB from Florida State. Okay, good pick. Pooney, O lineman from Kansas. Perfect pick. 3rd round. Take your lineman. DB from Wake Forest. Okay, I like that. Running back from Louisville. I'm not a big Louisville guy. JJ Crowery, wide receiver, Arizona. I like that. Arizona had a very good team last year. Kingston, an O lineman from USC. Okay, I don't mind the O line from USC. It's anybody on the defense. And Tatum Bethune, line stringer. I like the wide receiver from Arizona, the DB from Wake Forest. I'll have a chance. The O lineman from Kansas is a great pick. DB from Florida State. And I hate the receiver. I checked him out. He's nothing. He was 7th best in the SEC, and you're picking him in the 1st round. Big mistake here. And you don't need a receiver. What are you doing? Tampa Bay. Oh, my God. Offensive lineman from Duke. What are you doing? In the 1st round, Brazel, linebacker from Alabama. I question that. Tyke Smith, DB from Georgia. That's your best pick so far. McMillan, a wide receiver from Washington. Now, but this is your 3rd wide receiver. You're taking this guy in the 3rd round. You're taking the 3rd best wide receiver in Washington, and there's guys from Oregon and Utah and UCLA and Arizona out there. Bucky Irving from Oregon, great pick. Elijah Klein, offensive guard from UTEP. I don't mind, 6th round. And Devin Culp, a tight end from Washington, I question. Tampa, what are you doing? So an O lineman. Did you need an O lineman in the 1st round from Duke? The linebacker from Alabama, you're a pretty good defensive team. I question that pick. The DB from Georgia is your best pick, and then the wide receiver from Washington, I question. So I give him an F. I don't see any value how Tampa got better. I don't know how they made the playoffs, but I don't see how they got better. They won't make the playoffs this year. Neither will New Orleans with their picking. Maybe Atlanta. Atlanta could be the best team in the league by a mile with Penix. Question is, how smart will Tampa be to start Penix? All right, this is Tennessee. Okay, you're Tennessee. You have no quarterback. You got rid of Derrick Henry. You have no receivers. And you take with the 7th pick an O lineman from Alabama. Are you fucking kidding me? Not even the guy from Georgia who's 10 times better. You take an O lineman from Alabama. You're getting a Z pick. Then a defensive lineman from Texas, 2nd round. You're Tennessee. You need skill players. You don't need these guys. Cedric Gray, linebacker from North Carolina. Brownlee, DB from Louisville. Okay. Jackson, wide receiver from Tulane. This is your best pick. Williams, a safety from Miami. I'm not crazy about the Miami. Too many guys from Miami. And Harold, the defensive end from Michigan. So I'm going to give them a Z. I don't see any value at all in this draft. I don't see any player going to make the team. Your offensive lineman, are you telling me that your offensive line's that weak? Okay, then the defensive line, from Texas. Do you not have linemen? Linebacker from North Carolina. I don't think defense is Tennessee's problem. A DB from Louisville. So you're drafting D lineman, linebacker, D back, safety, defensive end. Guess what? You're still going to have a problem with your defense. And now you added a wide receiver from Tulane who will start, and that's it. And an old lineman who you could have got in the 5th round. A Z. See, most of these guys they don't understand what they're doing. Let's take an offensive lineman from Alabama with the 7th round when we can have Brock Bowers. You cannot get Brock Bowers. They come along once in a generation, a 10-year All-Pro. You've got to pick him up because there's a million linemen that you can pick up. There's one Brock Bowers. There's one, the Washington guy, the LSU guy. You got to get them because there's only a few of them. Offensive linemen, they're 7th round from Michigan. He's gonna start. He can play. The 7th rounder from Ohio State, if he started for us, he's gonna play because there's no difference. He can pass block and run block just as good as the guy, this 1st rounder from Alabama. But you fucked yourself because whoever else you needed, you can't get. Washington, Jaden Daniels, A+, good man. Newton, D line for Illinois, I question that. Sanistrell, DB from Michigan, I question that. Ben Sinnott, tight end, Kansas State. I don't know. He's probably pretty good out of Kansas State. Coleman, an O-lineman from TCU, perfect. 3rd round. McCafferty, wide receiver from Rice. Probably McCafferty's brother, so he's probably pretty good. Jordan McGee, linebacker from Temple, a little questionable there. Hampton, cornerback from Washington. Again, Washington didn't have the defense. Oregon did. And Baptiste, defensive lineman from Notre Dame, that I like. That's a good pick. And then Hartman that doesn't show. So they then added Hartman. See, it's questionable because you got Daniels. I would have added Hartman to Carolina, or I would have added Hartman to New England, who their quarterbacks suck, or even Dallas could have had Hartman. So I really question that. So the best draft by far was Denver. Bo Nix, superstar. Atlanta gets Penix, beautiful pick. I think Baltimore's was okay, although they still need a court. Dallas, I think there's so many Z's. Dallas, the Giants, the Jets, Tennessee, Tampa, Seattle, Pittsburgh, Philly, I think got pretty good. New Orleans was terrible. New England's terrible. Minnesota's terrible. Miami, Oakland got Brock Bowers, so give them credit for that. San Diego was terrible. The Rams, I think, got okay. KC was good. Jacksonville, Indy was good. Houston, middle. Green Bay was good. Detroit was terrible. Denver, that was the best. Dallas was terrible. Cleveland, okay with what they had. Cincinnati should have got help. The Bears was a Z. Carolina was terrible. Buffalo was very good. They got the safety from Utah, very good. Baltimore was decent, but they still need a quarterback. Atlanta, great. Arizona, eh. So most of the teams suck. That's the thing. So let's see, Daria. See, she was just down at a 111. She doesn't read the see, here's what I get confused on. So she was on at 111, but she didn't respond to anything. So then you wonder if she has the phone. Even if she's working, she could say, "Hi, I'm working," but I just don't get it. Jenna's read mine, but didn't respond. So Jenna was on 11:30, read my morning ones, and but didn't respond. But that's okay. But she reads them. But when you get to Daria, she's not even. None of them are blue, which I don't know how WhatsApp works. Anyway, again, it's just, well, when I talk to her, I don't get that, like, she's like something's up, but it doesn't make sense for 4 days. All right, so that's the draft. A lot of mistakes by these teams drafting, wasting the offensive lineman in the first round is just terrible. All right, let's do our baseball picks. And let's see. Well, nobody started yet. So first game's at 1:35, so we got 20 minutes. Oakland, Baltimore. Ooh, Paul Blackburn, 203 against Albert Suarez. Suarez is, well, he's thrown 5 innings shutout and 4 innings shutout. So this should be an under game. So let's go to, what's today? 428. So we're going to go under in Baltimore under 8.5. Yeah, I like that. We're going to go 5 unit on that. So these are 135. Cleveland, Atlanta. Ben Lively 0-1 with a 2.38 against Bryce Elder 1-0 with an 0.00. And I had the game, I think, over 8.5, and they didn't score. And I looked at the box score, and I look, Atlanta hits 290, and Cleveland hits like 260, and I can't. Where's the runs? So I'm a little confused there. I'm going to go under again. Cleveland under, and it's under 9, but no units. Just trying to get the expected. The Dodgers in Toronto, we hit this one yesterday. We had under 8, and they actually played it, but they both had good pitchers. Today they don't. Grove 0-0 with a 6, and Gausman 0-3 with a 5. So we're going to go over. This is going to be a 10 unit. LA over 8.5, and this will be our big play of the day. And we know that LA can hit and Toronto, and I mean, look at these pitchers. Gausman is 0-3 with a 5.57. I mean, and all he needs 8.5. This seems too easy. 10 unit. This should be a high scoring game. KC and Detroit, I'm passing on. No matter what I do with Detroit, it doesn't matter. Again, they're under. We have them under yesterday. KC under 8. It's under 8, and Detroit scores 5 runs to win 6-5. I mean, so now they're getting these 5-run innings and going over when it's an under game. So I'm passing. St. Louis and the Mets 130 and 8. Lance Lynn 1-0 with a 2.81 against Jose Quintana 1-2 with a 4.21. What do we have? We had St. Louis. We'll go St. Louis today for the W. They're a dog, so that should be good. Washington, Miami, a good football game years ago. It was a Super Bowl. John Riggins. Miami's favorite, 135, 8.5. Patrick Corbin, 0-3 with a 6.51 against Ryan Weathers, 2-2 with the 3.16. Boy, Miami can't hit. What did we do? We had Washington yesterday. I can't take them today. I can't. Let's go over. Wash over 8.5. And I'm curious, does Miami hit? See, Miami hits 216 and Washington hits 233, but I don't know what's an average because the average is in 10 times at bat. If you hit 300, you're going to get 3 hits. So it makes it really confusing what you're expecting. So looking at batting average really doesn't get you to, I think you still got to look at the bad defense, the bad pitching. So we're going to go over with that game. Tampa Bay and Chicago had that game over nicely, and they went way over 8.5, and I think they scored 15 runs. So Chicago's been scoring lately. Zach Liddell 1-1 with a 3.33 against Eric Feedy 1-0 with the 2.73. I'm going White Sox. Go Sox. Yankees in Milwaukee. Yankees won big yesterday. They put up 15 runs. Marcus Stroman, 2-1 with a 2.93 against Tobias Myers, 0-1 with a 1.80. Is he a bullpen guy? He pitched one game against Pittsburgh, 5 innings, gave up 1 run. So I got to ignore him. So Marcus Stroman. So let's go Yankees. Go Yankees. Beat Navy. Cincinnati, Texas. Texas 130 favorite over under 9. Andrew Abbott 1-2 with the 2.60. Dane Dunning 2-2 with the 4.61. We're going over with this one. Texas over 9. Pitt and the Niners. Pitt won yesterday. Franco Harris had a big game. Pitt minus 110, 7.5. Jared Jones 2-2, 279. Keaton Wynn 2-3, 354. Jesus. Let's go Pitt again. Franco will have another big game. Houston and Colorado. Framber Valdez 0-0 with the 2.19 for Houston. Austin Comer 0-1 with the 4.32 for Colorado. We're just taking Houston because Colorado just sucks. Minnesota and California. Minnesota's been hot lately. 110 and over under 8. Minnesota favored. Pablo Lopez 1-4 with the 4.39 against Reed Detmers. We're going to take California, and we'll see. We hope Reed Detmers can pitch 6 innings. Arizona, Seattle. Seattle minus 145, 6.5. Brad Fat 1-1 with the 5 against Logan Gilbert. Let's go Seattle. Logan Gilbert 2-0 with a 1. 7 against a 1-1 with a 5 ERA. So we're taking that. The question will be late in the game. Does our bullpen hold? That's really the first 5 or 6 innings. Seattle's going to win. It's what happens after that. And I think you can bet a 5-inning game. So that would be a game where I would take the 5-inning would be Seattle, but I'm sticking to normal 9 innings. The Phillies in San Diego. San Diego 158.5. Taijuan Walker 0-0 with an 0.00. Michael King 2-2 with the 4.11. Let's see what Taijuan Walker is. This his first? Yeah, he hasn't pitched since September 30th. So we don't know what to do with that guy. San Diego with the 4. Let's go over 8.5. Philly over 8.5. And then the Cubbies and the Red Sox. What happened yesterday? We had the Cubs over 8.5 and went over. Cubs, Boston, 135.9. Hayden Wesniewski, 2-0 with an 0.00 against Tanner Hook, 3-2 with a 1.65. We're going under today. Boston, under 9. And this will be a 5-unit. And that be all. And they're about to start. The 135s, you got 15 minutes. So we got Baltimore under 8.5, Cleveland under 9, the Dodgers. What the fuck did I do here? Over 8.5, I think. Let's see, are the Dodgers over or under? The Dodgers are over. Dodgers over 8.5 is the 10-unit. St. Louis, Washington over 8.5. The White Sox, the Yanks, Texas over 9. Pitt, Houston, Cal. Seattle, Philly over 8.5, Boston under 9. The 3 picks, Baltimore under 8.5, and Boston under 9 are 5-unit, and the big 10-unit play would be the Dodgers over 8.5, the way they hit and the pitching they had. So that be baseball. Basketball we went over. We didn't really like anything because the teams that needed the game we're only looking for teams with their back against the wall. These 3-0 teams, they're just too bad. These are the 8 seeds or 7 seeds. I'm not betting them down 3-1. I'm looking for like Utah yesterday was down 2-1 at home, had to win the game, or they go down 3-1 and they win. That's what we're looking for. So it's not always a bet, but soon it will be. When it goes to 3-2, the 2 needs to win. The three can relax because they know they can lose and still be alive, and the other team knows they have to win. And so that's what happens. So anyway, that is the NFL draft. And that is, thank you for telling me Hartman went to Washington. Very confused with that because you got Daniels. So Daniels is a stud. So I could see him going to Dallas. I could see him going to New England. I can see him going to Philadelphia. A lot of these places. I don't really understand how is he Garoppolo because he looks like him. He is not Garoppolo. I don't really. Garoppolo is always injured, but how do you say Hartman's Garoppolo? I mean, I don't. Garoppolo didn't even play college, right? He played Division II. I don't see that comparison at all. Hartman's a steal. I just question why Washington picked him up with Daniels. But don't think Hartman's not good because he's very good. It's like Kellen Moore went to the Lions from Boise, and he was great at Boise, right? The Lions drafted him. They never played him because they had Stafford. And you're like, what are they waiting for? And then you finally had he goes to Dallas, and he breaks his ankle after throwing for 400 yards, and that's how Prescott gets in. But Kellen Moore had beaten him out. So Lions wasted their pick, keeping Stafford instead of Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore is much better. And they're doing the same thing with Goff instead of Hooker. They need to go to Hooker, but I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. You got to give Hooker a chance. But he drafts all these Alabama players like they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. They're not. None of them do anything in the pros. Look at Waddle. See that? Devontae Smith. Is he that superstar receiver? No. Waddle? No. You go down the line. I mean, any defensive player in Alabama any good? Not really. Yeah, I know the kid from Houston won the Rookie of the Year. Big fucking deal. Was there anybody else in there? And Houston gave up 34 points against Baltimore. Did he even play in the game? So I don't buy this Alabama crap. It seems like the GMs have no idea. All the Lion GM does is draft Alabama guys. He couldn't spot talent a mile away. He drafts a cornerback from Alabama last year and this year, and everybody says, "Oh, what a great GM." Well, it ain't great to just draft a guy from Alabama because he went to Alabama. Is he any good? Well, let's see. Their defense gave up 30 points a game. So the first guy wasn't that good. Is this guy going to? No, they'll probably give up 30 a game because their defensive coordinator sucks. But that's okay. We keep betting them over. We keep cashing tickets. Man, Detroit's such a fake team because they beat a bunch of bad teams. It's like Michigan. They beat a bunch of bad teams. They did beat Ohio State, and they got lucky against Alabama. If Milrose doesn't fumble, they lose that game. So anyway, that's what you got to look at. So basically that's it. I don't know what Daria is waiting for. She's working or doing something where she is checking her phone, or I believe it's her. Could be her daughter. She said when this happened before, her daughter, they had a problem with the charger and needed the phone for school. So she gave the daughter the phone. But the daughter can't respond to her private messages. Like I said, why didn't she just tell me? I don't care if I hear from the daughter. So she says she can't respond. Maybe that's what's happening now. So, because you see her on, but you don't know what's going on. You don't know if it's her or that. So again, trying to be stoic, going, okay, let's hear the explanation because that's all we can do. There's nothing else we can do but hear the explanation. So anyway, that's where we're at. And we'll go from there. So that's your draft. That's your baseball picks. Again, Baltimore under 8.5, Boston under 9, and the Dodgers over 8.5 are the 3 picks I would bet on today. Very small. We're again trying to figure out expected outcomes, trying to look at the variables that are important, and going from there. Gold hasn't moved. It doesn't work on the weekends. It starts working, I think, Sunday night about 6 or 8 o'clock. China starts going, and with the time change. So we'll see if that starts moving. Again, most people are as clueless about gold as they are about the NFL draft, which is just stupidity in the NFL draft. We'll take an offensive lineman because you know what? There's a million offensive linemen, and they're all the same. There's only one Brock Bowers, but why would we want one Brock Bowers and we could get an offensive lineman from Notre Dame? Wow. Okay, so stupidity reigns. So this is why San Diego never wins. So they got some defensive players, San Diego, but they need receivers. Oh, wait, they drafted 2 late ones from Michigan and somebody else. Oh, yeah, that'll now will be good. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But they got it's funny. They got the quarterback. They got rid of their receivers. They have the running back. So now what? They didn't have blocking last year. It's just stupidity. So he'll probably try to go to the Michigan offense. So from what I'm understanding, they're going to run the ball. They'll probably just run the ball 40 times a game and blitz the defense. And they'll just play Michigan football and think it'll work in the NFL. Good luck against Mahomes, rushing 6 guys on Mahomes. Yeah, it'll work. Oh, my God. And won't work against Denver. All right, so Denver, Bo Nix, Penix, Kirk Cousins. Well, look at the Jets last year. They have Aaron Rodgers, but he gets hurt. Okay, so Kirk Cousins has still got the Achilles. Is he ready to play? Probably not. You let Penix in there 3 or 4 games, Kirk Cousins will never see the field. A la Tom Brady and what was the guy that got hurt? I can't remember. Bledsoe, I think. So Bledsoe's there. Here comes Brady. Bledsoe gets hurt, and he never sees the field anymore. And I think that's what's going to happen in Atlanta. You're going to have Penix, and Cousins will never see the field. And Cousins shouldn't see the field. He's a terrible quarterback. He's not. He's a loser, basically. And you have Jefferson, and you don't do it. You lose to the Giants, a playoff game with Jefferson. What are you going to do in Atlanta? You don't have wide receivers. It's pathetic. But Penix is much better, and Nix, Daniels, New England won't win a game. Chicago won't win a game. Caleb, oh my God. What are they thinking that they think Caleb's this good quarterback? I don't know. It's the same people that thought Primetime Jr. was a good quarterback, right? He threw for 500 yards against TCU. Oh, he's going to win the Heisman. Then they lost the next 8 games, and he threw, for 200 yards against Oregon, and a lot of interceptions. And yeah, I guess he's not that good. Well, that's what you got with Caleb. I don't think he's that good. Anyway, it's a gimmick offense. It's like take Tagovailoa at Alabama or Mac Jones. It's a system, or the Ohio State guys. Fields. I think they thought Fields was better than Caleb when he came out, and then we see, oh wait, he went to Ohio State. They don't know how to read a blitz. So that's what you got there. Anyway, I think that's it. I don't know what's going on with Daria. It's not like she's blocking me or saying don't talk to me again, or something bad. It's beyond me. There's got to be something going on. She doesn't want me to know. I think she's working today, but you can see it bothers me because it's not expected outcome. See, when I do things, I expect the outcome. I send her a text, good morning. I expect the text back. And so you get into a pattern, and the pattern is she texts me every day. And then when it goes 4 days, uh, usually it's she doesn't want me to know something, or she thinks I might leave her, or the daughter had to take the phone, or somebody got sick, or something. So I don't know if she's sick. I would think she'd be able to say something. Is somebody else sick? But she keeps checking the phone. But how does she not read my messages? Or on WhatsApp, you only read it when you type me, everything goes blue. Although Jenna didn't type me. Jenna, everything went blue, but she didn't text me. So no. So Daria's not going into my thing. So it almost sounds like the daughter has the phone because the daughter won't check it. So we will see. Or somebody else has the phone, but it looks like it's her. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe she gives the phone to somebody else. They don't check the messages. That's why it doesn't go green, but it shows she's on. So it's something simple like that. Anyway, that's what's happening. Gold, look for gold. It's going to go. BRICS meetings in a few weeks. And I saw Trump trying to bully these people. I read where now there's 50 countries trying to join BRICS. By the U.S. bullying and blackmailing these countries to not get out of the dollar, everybody knows the dollar's worthless. So they know who wants to be in the dollar. And this is what's amazing is how many, it's like college football, or the pro draft. How many people draft a lineman in the first round? How many people just sit there and go, well, the debt will be 100 million in 5 years? No, it's gone. It won't be. It'll be gone. The U.S. dollar will be gone in a year. You don't have 5 years. You got a $36 trillion debt. You don't have 5 years. The other countries don't want it. It's gone. And that's clearly, you can see with 50 countries wanting to join BRICS, that's obviously what's going on. So you can see it for yourself. So anyway, we'll get more into economics tomorrow. Wanted to touch the draft, wanted to touch the baseball picks, basketball, and that's about it. So we did 2 hours. Well, the draft took a while because you got all the things. There's a few, there's Texas and Washington and Florida State I want to read up on because there's a lot of these receivers and running backs, and I'm like, I'm not sure Washington had all these good players except for Penix and Oduzzi and the running back who didn't get picked. The second receiver you got to be careful with. Then I'm seeing a third receiver and a tight end. I'm like, I don't think so. It's good play calling, but anyway. And then Hartman is like the biggest mistake by these guys not drafting Hartman. You watch, Hartman will play in these little preseason games, and he'll light it up, and they'll go, well, it's just preseason. If I was a team like Dallas or Philadelphia, I would be trading for Hartman. I can't believe they didn't draft him late or do what Washington does and get him as a free agent. But he could start over Daniels. He's a better quarterback than Daniels, really. But I don't know what his problem is, if it's the size, apparently. But how is he Garoppolo? He's not anywhere near Garoppolo. He played big time Wake Forest and Notre Dame football. Garoppolo was Division II North Dakota State or something like that. All right. Well, I will continue to wait for Daria, but I'm going to go to the pool, and there's nothing I can do. I could, I tell her I love her and go, where the fuck are you? And that's all I can do is wait for her to text me. I don't know what she's waiting for. Like I said, something must have happened, but again, I have no clue. Jenna, she didn't text me, but everything went blue, so she did read it. And that's the difference. Jenna would never do that, but Jenna doesn't work. Daria does. So my analytics says, well, Jenna's got more time to talk to me where Daria's busy with the daughter and work. So I try to take that into account. But then again, seriously, you don't have 1 minute to say, hi, I'm at work, have a nice day, which she normally does. So what's going on here? So just confusing. Every once in a while, I lose her for 4 days, and then she'll need food money and she'll text me. But, I just kind of woke up a little upset. Like, what the fuck? Seriously? After 4 days, you're not texting me? Anyway, I'm sure I'll hear from her tomorrow morning if I don't hear from her tonight. All right. Anyway, that's all we can do with women, right? It's frustrating. Or people that don't respond to you. When my point of view is if she texts me, I respond. And you see me respond when she texts when we're on. So the expected outcome is I say hello, you say hello, right? So when you don't get the expected outcome, then you start analyzing why not, and that's what fucks you up. So try to stay away from that. Anyway, off to the pool. Have a nice day. Again, the 3 baseballs take Baltimore under 8.5, Boston under 9, and the Dodgers over 8.5. They should just be starting now. All right, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll talk economics, and we can review the draft a little bit, just more of a summary level, and then baseball, the basketball, and gold, of course. And we will see. So feel good, everybody. Don't get too frustrated like I am with Daria. It's like my jobs. I interviewed 3 times. All I can do is send thank yous, which I did, and wait for the outcome. I'm hoping I get the jobs, but there's nothing I can do at this point. Either you like me or you didn't. Daria has said she likes me, so I'm not really that worried. But that's all we can do is try to just wait for the outcome. But judging from the way we talk, there's nothing happened. So now it's just weird. And then the only thing I tell her about is don't tell me after the fact you were away for 3 days. Tell me certain things. And I said, you must have had some bad relationships with the Russia guys because she hates Russia guys, she said. So she must have had some bad relations. So she doesn't want to make the same mistake with me. And then it freaks me out because I don't hear from her. And I'm wondering why. All right. Anyway, enough with that. So have a nice day. Enjoy it. Sunday. Relax. There's got to be basketball on, and we will see. All right. Have a good day. www.teaserking.com. I'm working on a class where people come and pay like a regular economics class. I got to figure out really, I can do a private, but I would still do a public for you guys, and we will, but not as much because I want them to pay. So I can't have them pay and then do it here. So we'll figure out something. All right. www.teaserking.com. Football is a few months away. Enjoy your